Hello! Today we are here to discuss Fit to Print. So this is a Kickstarter that just came in from AEG, but I don't want to steal any more of Rob's thunder because he always gets huffy when I do.
So rude.
Before we get into it, though, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can follow along with all the new Kickstarter releases that have been coming in. We've been getting flooded lately with them.
Well, he has. I have.
And then, of course, all the Gen Con and Origins backlog we're
still
getting through, and we got a few sneak previews coming that we've got to review too. So, all right, Rob, what can you tell us about this?
All right, so the overall rank is 4,055. It's rated 7.6, and it plays 1 to 6 people, which is nice. Ages 10 and up, 15 to 30 minute playtime, which I think is pretty accurate. Designed by Peter McPherson, art by Ian O'Toole, which is always nice, and we'll talk about that. Published by Flatout Games, and I think it was brought to the United States by AEG. Now, the MSRP is $39.99, but it's not readily available yet because it is just out for Kickstarter. So it's available for pre-order. Miniature Market was $31.99. Boardlandia had the cheapest one at $27.99. And there are no copies available on Geek Market. So you're going to have to wait.
Yeah, so this came with a little packet of additional bonus tiles that were part of the Kickstarter release, but apart from that, everything is pretty much what you would see in retail. So let's talk about the quality of components. So it has a ton of cardboard.
Ton.
So you've got all these articles and photos and little ads. Yeah. They're adorable. They have pictures of different animals. The articles are all named differently.
And they're actually pretty funny too.
Yeah.
There's actually all the articles they're all unique and they all have something funny to say. So.
And the funny thing is, like, the actual I guess whatever the gobbledygook that they've written on the articles is blurred, but you can tell
all the time
actual words. Yeah. I'm trying to translate it because, like, it says why something, but I can't make out all these words. So if anybody has got this game and managed to somehow translate what those say, I'd love to hear what the text is.
Well, I mean, one of the articles I got, which would be very interesting to read, is health benefits of preening. So, yes. I think that would be very interesting to read.
And they have, like, different moods on them too. I mean, this is more thematic, so we'll get into more of that later. But yeah, it's just they've done an amazing amount of detail.
They really did. The artwork is great because you got ads and you got pictures.
Yeah,
and so it's all very well done.
And they made these little 3D desks. So you have to assemble them, but they're really cool. They hold together very well, and they fit. Like, you have to do them inside each other, but you can put them in the box. So, there's nothing that sticks out of the box.
What about the cards? Because you got them.
The cards have like a linen finish on them. They're
not too bad.
They're a little thin, but they're not bad.
But at the end of the day, it's a bunch of cardboard.
Yeah, and your player board is a twofold, and it's got two sides to it that represent. One side is Friday and Saturday edition of your paper, and the other side is Sunday, which is the largest side. So I think there's not much to it as far as the components, but what's there is pretty nice. I don't think there's anything that's wowing you, except for the desks do look cool on the table, but I'm probably going to go ahead and give it a 7, just because there's not much to take off for. The cardboard quality is good, and the cards have a linen finish. I mean, it's all nice.
Although I think now thematically, I'm going to score it much better. But just for component quality, it's just cardboard, okay cards, and the desks are kind of cool. But again, it's just cardboard. So because the desks are cool, I'm going to bump it up to a 6. But I mean, there's really nothing else to the game, so just 6.
Okay. So moving on to the theme, this probably spent a lot more time here.
Oh, for sure. The theme is fantastic.
They went beyond to make this. I mean, you feel like you're under pressure to get your newspaper out. You have to design it, lay it out. You have
to lay it out. I mean, I can imagine this is what it would feel like when you're getting down to the last, hour of getting that paper put together before print. And so I can imagine this is what it feels like.
And you have to balance everything. So like you've got, like we were talking about mood earlier. So your articles will have smiley faces or frowny faces that are highlighted yellow or blue to
like
make
a good article or a bad article.
Yeah, and you want your newspaper to be completely neutral.
Right.
Don't make it too happy or too sad. Mine was bipolar. It went back and forth through the whole game. But yeah, you have all kinds of rules. You can't have ads next to one another, so you want to make sure your layout's right. You got different kinds of articles that you can't have assembled next to the same article type. There's photos, but you got to make sure that they're aligned the right direction, and they can't be adjacent to other photos. So there's all kinds of placement rules. And then the decks of cards, you only use one card per round. But
per stack, because there's 3 stacks.
And they give you a lot of variety in
those.
They
really do.
But they give you either additional conditions you have to meet or additional ways of scoring points for the round, which I thought was really cool. They've got beautiful art. Like I said,
Tools
art is
really
amazing.
Yeah, it always is.
And all these anthropomorphic animals are just adorable. I love that they went with animals doing these newspapers, and the names of the newspapers are appropriate for the animals.
Yeah, they fit.
So I think they've gone above and beyond on this. I'm going to probably give it a 9.
I want to do better. I think that thematically it's near perfect. I want to do a 10.
Wow.
So it just fits so well.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun.
So let's talk about the rulebook. So the rulebook is 24 pages in length, but it's not all necessary to read the whole thing in order to finish.
But it had a nice cover.
It has a nice cover. It matches the cover of the box. Yeah. The back is all about the Flatout people who made the game and all of that. You've got the components that do have nice pictures, show you what everything is. Set up for the game. They got a nice picture illustration of that, and the directions are all tied over to the side. They've got different settings to play at. It's got 3-minute time. This is a timed game, very similar to.
I think it felt very Galaxy Trucker to me.
That's what. Yeah,
and so and more so than like a Captain Sonar or something like that. So
yeah, so. In this game, you can play, the standard mode is 4-minute timer, 3 minutes is frantic, and 5 minutes is relaxed. So the first time we played,
relaxed is still pretty pressured.
Yeah, so. I didn't feel as pressured this time. The first time we played, it felt like we used up the entire 5 minutes. This time we actually had some minutes to spare. I think you were running slower, but this was your first time playing, whereas it wasn't ours. So I think standard, once you get playing it, 4 minutes is reasonable. Frantic, I think, would be chaos. And I think it's appropriately named. And then they have different ways to play. There's a ton of ways to play this game. First of all, the cheat sheet cards, one side is cheat sheet, but the other side is a variable player power. So all the different animals have different powers and abilities. You can play with it or without it.
And the press passes.
Yes, that's very thematic as well. They have the staff bios, so they have a little page in the rules to talk about each of the different animals and how they got, I guess, their jobs and what their roles are, which is really cool. You have the different phases of the game, and for each round, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then you have all the things you have to score based upon, scoring tiles, and then the game and scoring examples, because it is a little confusing how to add it, making sure you get all the things scored. Then they have a solo mode, which I can't imagine playing this solo, but it's not really fleshed out.
Depending on how it scores, my only turn off would be score better than you did last time. Yeah. That's not a solo.
Yeah, it's not that robust. Okay. But they have a puzzle mode where they have different challenges where you have specific tiles and you have to score certain points amount.
That is cool.
That is really neat. So they have 12 different puzzles to do. They have scenarios and achievements that you can unlock if you want. I've seen AEG's been doing that a lot lately. That's really cool. Then you have variant ways to play. You can play family mode. So if it's a little too stressful for younger audience, you can change the rules for that. They have a turn-based mode, so if you don't like the frantic nature of timing, you can have a turn-based mode where you draft the tiles from a selection from each size of the type of tile, and then you can lay it out on your turn. My favorite one in here, I really want to try, is they have a newsroom mode where you have teams that team pair up.
And then it would feel like Captain Sonar
Yeah.
in that regard.
You have two tables,
Yeah.
and one table has all the tiles where you draft from, and the reporter runs over and gathers them, and instead of using the desk face up, they put them this way so that it can hold them in.
Okay.
And then they bring it back to the editor who's laying out the paper, and the editor will send them back for more tiles and tell them what they need.
That'll be a lot
That
of
would
fun.
be a lot of fun, having a runner and a drafter versus someone editing. So there's a ton of ways to play this game, and they thought of everything. I mean, if you don't like the way this mode plays, you can play it a different way.
And that's kind of unique for AEG in general.
Yeah.
Usually you might have one or two variants, but they're pretty streamlined games.
Yeah.
So to have so many different options is really cool.
The designer has done an outstanding job trying to meet everybody's expectations with this game, and it shows. I mean, it's a well thought out game. I think the rules do a good job teaching it, and I love the fact that it's got so much variety. The cheat sheet has exactly what you need on it for scoring it. Once you get the gist of it, you're not going to need it to reference the rules. I'm probably going to give them a 9.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, moving on to gameplay. So at the beginning of the game, all the tiles are put in the center of the table. It doesn't matter what size they are. They're all going to be face down. You're going to get dealt, there's 6 starter tiles that have a bonus on them. So they call these a centerpiece tile. These have to be the featured article that goes in your newspaper,
front page.
On your front page. And there's a star on the page telling you it has to cover that star. So you can arrange it how you want, but one part of that has got to cover that star. The rest of it is empty. And then you're going to be taking the first round of this is the reporter phase, where you're going to be going out and picking articles to assign to your newspaper. The catch is you cannot line them up on your page. You have to draft them and stick them on your desk. So you have the timer started, and depending on whether you're using them or not, you would have a card flipped up that gives you either additional restriction on placement or a scoring rule for that round. So you're going to have it doesn't really matter where you put your tile, because when you edit, you can move it around.
But you always start on the Friday, Saturday side.
Yep.
So I got it flipped over. So you can see that there's a grayed out section for Friday. You can't cover that part.
Yep.
And then when you go into Saturday, then you do have to cover that part.
Yep.
And then Sunday.
Well, you don't have to, but
you
don't
can
want to
lose
not
points.
do it.
Yeah. And then Sunday is a full page.
Yeah.
So
there are some placement rules you have to consider when you're drafting tiles. First of all, there's 3 types of tiles, which are articles, photos, and ads. You cannot have photos next to another photo, so you can't have 2 photos touching. Diagonal's fine, but any orthogonal touching is not allowed. Ads, similar thing. You can have multiple ads, but you cannot have any ads touching one another. And then articles, there's 4 different colors of articles, I believe. There's green, blue, purple.
There's at least 3. I've seen.
There might be 3. It may just be 3. Green, blue, and purple.
Yeah.
They represent like sports and entertainment and different types, like business stock is green.
Or just your local news type stuff.
So you are going to be drafting those tiles, and you can place them different adjacent to other articles, but they have to be different colors.
Yeah.
So you can't have 2 of the same color touching. So with that knowledge, you would go into drafting, and all the tiles would be face down. I can't reach that one. We'll assume it's face down. And when you draft, we'd have a timer started for whatever your timer of choice limit was. And you would pick it up with one hand, look at it, and decide whether you wanted it. Very similar to Galaxy Trucker. In this case, this is a pink article, and it says Pan Animal Games tickets counterfeited. You wouldn't normally read this in the time, because you're quickly trying to decide whether you want this. And any article is worth straight up victory points. So this one's 2 victory points, but it's also a negative article, so it's got 2 frowning faces on it.
Yeah.
So I got to balance those. So I'll go ahead and take that one, but I would keep drafting, but I want to get some happy faces to counter that. So, and we're doing this simultaneously. So we're all both going in and drafting. So here's a photograph, and this one likes to be adjacent to pink and blue. Well, I already pulled a pink, so
it makes sense.
I would keep that as well. And you want to get different shapes. Now, there's on the back of these, really cleverly, they put articles that
blurred out
words, so you can see the orientation of them, because even though they're the same shape, you might find two different
one might be vertical
orientations.
and the other one be horizontal.
Yeah, and you can't line it up such that it doesn't meet the orientation. So the other thing these will serve as if you find you violated a rule during the scoring, you flip the tile over, you lose the scoring. It still doesn't count as dead space on your page, which is nice, because then you get like a double whammy if it did. You don't remove it, you just flip it over. So, it may behoove you to play tiles that you can't score, just to flip them over, go ahead and flip them to cut away down your dead space.
That would make sense.
I did that once.
It's not a huge negative for, the most you lose is 1 point.
Yeah.
If you're the one who has the most empty space on your page. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought when we.
I guess if you're playing a really tight game and everybody's really good at it, then it can make all the difference in the world.
Well, it did matter. I think on that one, we had one round where the bonus was 7 points for having the fewest, so that was nice.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
But you're having to draft all your tiles up front, and at some point you think, okay, this is enough that I can probably fill my page, because I can't lay it out. So you call out layout, and at that point you're done drafting. You cannot draft any more tiles.
But everybody else is still potentially drafting as long as you're within that time limit.
So then from that point forward, you have to start placing the tiles on the board. Well, I've only got 3 tiles because I didn't do I called layout.
I wish you would have done that in real life, but no.
No, so I would be then having to orient these on my board in such a way that I didn't violate any of those rules, which shouldn't be hard at all with 3 tiles. Yeah. But I would normally not have stopped there. So, let's see. There we go. I've already done it. I've successfully done it. And
he's got a huge empty space.
I've got a huge empty space. I'm going to get that negative penalty. So after you place, everybody's done placing their tiles, they still are within that time limit here. This is the same timer. We don't reset the timer for this. So you've got, if you played with the standard 4 minutes, you have 4 minutes to draft your tiles and lay out your board. And if you're the first to do it, you take the number 1, very similar to Galaxy Trucker.
Sure.
And then you're going to, the benefit of going first is that next round when we do the centerpieces, we'll be drawing from a pile, and you get first dibs at picking the bonus you want.
And some of them are very hard.
Yes.
So being able to get the first pick and be able to pick the most advantageous one could be huge.
Yeah, although I think they're pretty well balanced scoring-wise. I didn't see anybody get one that was like a runaway.
No, but depending on what you get, combined with some of those cards that flip up, they could not work well together. Like my second round did not work well together. And so it was difficult.
Yeah. So then you're going to score, first of all, your articles are straight up victory points. Your photos are multipliers based upon what is touching them. So in this case, mine is 1 victory point for every pink and blue touching it. Well, all I got was 2 articles, but they're both pink and blue. So this would be worth 2 points because there's one's adjacent. Now there's ones that are really nice that have multipliers for happy or frowny faces.
Oh.
And if you can surround those, you add up the
frowny faces.
The frowny faces. Yeah. So
wow.
They pay out better because it's easier to get more of them. So I always try to get those because they're fun to score those, especially when I'm writing my all happy and all sad newspapers. But then you're going to score that. Then you're going to get your points for your centerpiece. Followed by that, then you're going to be checking your empty space. So you'll be looking at what your largest dead space is, which would be down here for me. I'd have 4 times 7, 28.
Right.
I would be taking a -1 hit for that, which is not bad.
That's not bad. And then whoever's in second doesn't get anything.
No, they get +1.
Oh, +1. And then whoever has the least
gets +3.
+3.
So, yeah, you're basically either losing 1 point or gaining 3 is the range, and it's not bad at all. Then you're going to lose points if your mood doesn't balance.
And that could be a huge.
Yeah, because right now I got 3 frowny faces, so I wrote another very negative paper.
Right.
So I lose 3 points because
it's not neutral.
I've got 3 frownies and no happies. after you do all that, then you check for the ads. Now, ads don't give you any victory points whatsoever.
But they're so important.
They're important to running your business. So you have to, at the end of the game, whoever has the fewest amount of money is automatically eliminated. They lose the game.
The paper went bankrupt.
That's right. So it doesn't matter what your score is. Miranda was scoring tons of points, and she ended up leaving me stuck with a money bonus one round, and I got tons of money in the second round, which left me in the Sunday paper, the biggest paper, free reign to just score points out the wazoo.
And then I did halfway well on money, but I did horribly score-wise. But still, because I beat her in money, I came in second place.
Yeah, because she got eliminated from the game. Yeah. She was very frustrated by that. It was her happy day.
That was her negative criticism.
Yeah. So I think that's a really cool feature because it balances.
Yeah, there's a few games that we played like that too, where like whoever's got the least amount of something automatically gets eliminated from the game. And generally, we don't like player elimination, but if you know that up front, and then
you're not eliminated from the game until the end of game scoring. So
I know, but still, it's still elimination. So.
Yeah, but it couldn't happen to a better person.
Randy, she's going to hurt you.
Yes. So I love this game. I think they've done an outstanding job with this. As soon as I saw what it was going to be, I ordered it right away because this one was I saw it at Gen Con at the AEG media event, and I'm like, that looks like something I'm going to want.
Yeah, this is like one of your now favorite AEG games.
Yeah, this of the light games. Yeah. I mean, obviously Thunderstone is my all-time favorite. But yeah, if you consider lately, most of the AEG games have been on the light entry-level type games. This is definitely an entry-level game for a game that is, a timed-based game. And, as far as that goes, this is definitely up there as probably my number one that I've ever played of AEG's games that were
entry-level. A lot of fun. Yeah.
I am probably...
Overall,
I'm going to give this a 9. I don't think it's quite Galaxy Trucker level for me.
Yeah.
But it's darn close. This is like, if I don't have enough time to play a full-fledged game of Galaxy Trucker, this is a very good substitute. Yeah. And I may grow to like this one more because it's easier to get to the table. But yeah, I mean, it's very portable. It's not that big of a box.
Yeah, it's a small to medium-sized box.
And, it plays up to, 6 players.
Plays up to 6 people, which is always nice.
Yeah, and you can play more if you do the teams where, 12 people you could have. So, I mean, this is a good party game.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's very flexible. Yeah, I think for that reason, I got to give it a 9.
I agree. Generally, I'm not into timed games, but this one was relaxed enough to where even though you felt the pressure, it wasn't too much. And so it wasn't overbearing. So, I think 9's a great score. I agree.
And I got to say, you can strategize in it. And it's not, you got the rapid fire, but you still, when you go in, like round 1, okay, well, I got very little victory points, but I got a lot of money. I don't have to focus so much on the money this round. So you can plan for what you're going to draft for the next round to some extent. So I think even though it's not a heavy strategy game, there is a lot of strategy that you can plan with. So, I mean, this just, to me, hits everything I like in a game.
Right.
It's easy to teach. It's easy to get to the table. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's very cute.
It is.
I think Sarah would enjoy this, although I think she'd get frustrated.
Right.
If she gets eliminated at the end. But, then again, sometimes I think Miranda gets more frustrated than she does. So, I don't know if you've had a chance to check this out. If you've heard of this, check it out. If you haven't.
When it goes to retail, I'll probably pick it up. I like it.
All right. Well, that's our thoughts on Fit to Print. If you've had a chance to play it or if you are interested about it, let us know down below. If you have actually written newspapers, we'd love to hear about that too. What's your experience?
Is it just like this game?
If you're an anthropomorphic creature, feel free to use your paws and type us a message.
Yeah.
That'd
be amazing.
This session, this is a wrap. Let's print it and move on. All right. Bye.
Bye.
furry, and it looks very appropriate for this game.
I got it trimmed up.
It looks very appropriate for this game.
I got it shaped up. I mean, it
looks like
it's not as bushy as it was just a couple days ago.
No, it looks like a small rodent now.
Thank you. I think it's the nicest thing you ever said.
Might be rabid.
That's the Randy.